Good afternoon, YouTube. I'm Nate and welcome back to the channel. So today, all of my chickens are sitting in a bush. Okay, let's go have a look. That's not what I need to get done, but I haven't seen all my girls in a bush in a while. Guess they got bored. Look at this. They're all just chilling up here in this bush. Look at that. Isn't that adorable? I don't think so. Okay, anyway, that was a nice little side quest to go see the girls. But so in the next 6 weeks, which is about when my last expected frost date is, I've got several things that need to happen. One, I need to finish pruning this apple tree over here. If I can manage to finish that, get it pruned all the way back the way it should be, I should get some decent sized apples. I've got a second apple tree at the bottom of the property. If I get around to it, I get around to it. Second, I have to rebuild this electric fence over here. I tore it down partially so that I could move some brush around, and now it's time to put it back together because I am about to put some food in the ground. That's why last week I worked on tilling up my garden a little bit so that I could prep a few spots to worry about getting my food in. 3, can't really do 3 with gloves on. I need to get my burn piles completely burnt. Now the one just behind me, that's almost ready, or it is ready, honestly. I was gonna do it today, but it's just been raining a little bit too much, and so I'm not entirely confident that that is ready to be burnt off. And fourth, I have to, instead of continue using this old chicken coop, I've got to build a new one right behind me. I want to fence in this little yard area, which I'd say is, I don't know, maybe 200-300 square feet minimum. So if I could fence that in and build a bigger coop, I can have a lot more chickens. And the fifth thing that needs to happen is I have grow bags. And so what's happening today is I'm gonna fill up my grow bags after I finish rebuilding my electric fence and getting that all cleaned up. And in those grow bags, I am going to put several potatoes. Now potatoes should always be planted, actually I have no best practices for you on there. It's my first time doing potatoes. So with that said, let's get to work. So this fence came in very handy last summer. And I wish I still had footage of it, but I was really bad about documenting things once it got hot out. I had my entire garden full of food. Had full row of tomatoes, a row of cucumbers, had my corn, I had some beans going, my pepper plants. It was amazing. And the reason I have an electric fence around the garden, unlike like a wooden thing or something like that, it was kind of the cheapest option for me at the time, and honestly I kind of like it. And I've told you guys a ton of times, I'm surrounded by a couple hundred acres of farmland. Now this farmland is mostly used for cattle grazing, and over the last several years it hasn't really been utilized at all until it was sold last Christmas. So because it wasn't being used, the deer population in this area got big, very big. And so get a lot of deer cutting across my property, especially now that my neighbor pulled down, he had a fence, an old just barbed wire fence all the way around the property. He tore that down because it was from the old owner. It was old, rusted and nasty. So now that our property lines are open to each other, the deer themselves, they just come through way more than what they ever have. So last summer I had maybe 10 or 15 deer that I saw get up near the fence. They got zapped pretty hard on the nose, didn't have a problem with them after a couple of weeks. Well, now that the property fence is no longer up, That's going to let, like I said, more deer onto the property. So my big fear is that the deer, one, won't remember lessons learned last year, and two, because the population has a much easier time of getting around. I'm worried that my garden will be a bit more of a target than it was last year. So getting this fence fixed up is probably one of the most important things I'm going to do this spring and summer. Now, it's not exactly in horrible state. All I've got to do is just put my T-posts back in where they were. I'm probably going to move it out a couple of feet extra. But I just got to get those T-posts put back in so that I can then start shoring up the wires. And that's essentially what I'm working on right now, is just making sure that that's done. Once that's done, I'll worry about everything else. Really, the big concern will be when I need to do my second burn pile, which burn pile 1 is behind me. I'm going to have to completely tear it down again, but not really. All I'm really going to have to do is just pull the wires out, which is actually a really easy thing to do when it's not hot. Okay, easy peasy lemon squeezy. I've got all 4 runs on my electric fence put back together. It's looking like an area that's segregated from the rest of my property the way I want it. So the next thing I absolutely have to do is along the bottom of it, I'm going to put another wire, and that should help discourage my chickens from trying to get in during the summer. I figure a few good shocks, they'll learn their lesson. But I really don't want to do that today. My main objective was just to get the fence put back up, which it's back up now, because I really meant to break it down at the end of the last season, but I was like, nah, I'll just leave it up. But now my garden area is fenced off again, yay. We can move over to other projects, really. I gotta go clean up my mess real quick, and then what we'll do is I'll meet back up with you, and we'll have ourselves a look at my grow bags. Okay, electric fence mess is cleaned up. I was heading inside to grab my grow bags, and I got them. But I was looking at the specs on them. They're 10-gallon bags, and that's not that big of a deal, really. But what I'm gonna have to do, because I don't think I have enough soil for them. I've got 6 cubic yards sitting up on the deck, but I don't think that's going to be enough to fill up even a couple of the bags. So I'm back out to the garden. I'm just going to grab some soil off the top, and I'm going to use that to just kind of cut in with the gardening soil I bought. Now I'm very lucky. The soil in my garden is still pretty healthy from last year. So if I just get one load on my wheelbarrow, I should be fine. Okay, so we're back over on my deck, and I've got my grow bags. I have 4 of these canvas bags, pretty well rated on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below. But it's a circular grow bag meant for growing potatoes in it. It's honestly, you can grow anything you want in it. But what makes it ideal for potatoes is there is a window just on the inside. So once it's time to harvest, I can just break the seal on the Velcro and I can, you know, check my potatoes. So I've got 4 of these things, which means I need 40 gallons of soil. So I probably won't use all 4 of them right now at least. But what I do want to do is fill 2 of them up, minimum. But what needs to happen ahead of time is to have my chicken calm down. She's I don't think she's appreciating the lack of attention. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go get one of the bags of garden soil I bought. I'm gonna mix it in with my wheelbarrow full of soil, so that I can have a, you know, little hybrid kind of soil there. I'll fill one about halfway, and then I'll get my seed potatoes, and I'll probably put 5 or 6 in there. I don't think I thought this through. Basically what has to happen is I gotta mix that up now. That that bag had a little more soil in it than I anticipated. Okay, now I've got the soil in my grow bags. I'm gonna cut up a couple seed potatoes. Get it dropped right down in there. Grow bags are full. I've got a few seed potatoes in there. So honestly, it should be fine. I'm expecting some pretty cool nights over the course of the next couple of weeks, but I really don't know. I think it's going to be fine. We'll find out. That's part of me doing things the way I'm doing them. I'm trying to learn, figure out what does and doesn't work. So that addresses my 2 main needs today. I got a few other minor chores that need to happen, but nothing really write home about. So I got my fence rebuilt, got my grow bag situated. Now I just got to ride out the unsavory weather over the next couple 3 or 4 weeks, and once that's done, I can really get into high gear on the garden. But in the meantime, guys, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you. Have a good night.